Sunday PlaneSavers live chat. I hope everybody's doing really good. Yeah, a lot of people. This is probably week 2 for a lot of people staying at home. This is pretty crazy. But yeah, so let me know in the comments right off the bat if the levels are good. My father's already here. He's in the physical green room. You know, sometimes when you have people call in on the Skype, they're in the Skype green room, but my father is in the actual room. Holy smokes. Thank you, guys. Yeah, how's everything going today? Oh, I'm starting to get everything. Bob K saying the audio is good. Thank you, Bob K. And yeah, so as soon as my father shows up, we'll do it. How'd you guys like that? Oh, cap just fell in my water. How'd you guys like that Ray video, man? That was crazy, eh? Check that out. YouTube actually demonetized it and was like suppressing it because of the content. You can kind of guess why, because that content is quite crazy. It's pretty neat, the analytics. When you look at that video, about 25% of people made it to the very end of the video. So 1 out of 4 people watched it right to the end. So let me know if you watched that one right to the end, because that was crazy. Ray's stories, and there was so much more. I remember, like, his Ray's phone died during that one, and then so if you're just watching this and you want to watch a good interview as well, go watch Ray interview. Then we'll get my father in here, and everything's going good. Yeah, oh my lordy. So Sunday, hopefully everybody is going good. Here, let me put my phone on mute here. Everything is going good. What is going on? Dad, you ready? You gotta find a chair.
Are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. 421 people waiting.
Wait, you gotta get into that thing.
No, you gotta grab it.
Well, ask if anybody wants to know what.
Well, we'll see if Bill Eldridge is in the comments yet, but we'll see. So we'll just chat first. Oh, there we go. Here he comes. There we go.
Right back.
Oh, see, we almost had him. See, he brought the chair in. That's close. Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. There we go. So Sebastian said, watch the Ray episode. That's good. How's everything going? Okay. 1 sec. He's building up tension, folks. He's building up tension. There we go. Hi, Mikey and Joe. Hi, Joe. We almost seen him, folks. Oh, what's up? He's got to be coming here sometime, folks. Ray's video was fabulous. Thank you. Oh, here he is, folks. There he is.
We gotta be 5 feet apart, eh? So
yeah.
Here. That's the furthest we've been apart in the whole life for me. This is a new life for us.
So how's everything going, Dad?
Oh, it's going good. You know, it's clear and cold, and everything's frozen, so everything's great. But anyway, today I had quite a few people ask me on the comments if I knew what a kneeboard was, an airplane that people used, and I didn't really realize what they were talking about. So I got thinking about it, and yes, I do know now what they call a kneeboard. And I dug it out here. Still got a Beechcraft checklist on, but that's a kneeboard. You see. See, this part here, that's a kneeboard. And I'll tell you about this kneeboard. You want to bear with me for a few minutes. You want to hear the whole story about this thing, Mike?
We got time. It's Sunday. Everybody's at home.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, turn the clock back 45 years, and we're all running around the country here. We got the top 30 of Canada to play in, and we ran around with beavers and otters and Norsemans and Beechcraft and having a really good time. And radios were usually reserved for camps, telling us what camp they wanted us to come to and what the weather was like there, the wind. And so about that time, we happened to go down to Calgary, and I acquired a Piper Aztec, twin-engine Aztec. It was one of the first IFR airplanes in the Fort Smith at the time. And anyway, along with this airplane, I inherited a pilot by the name of Bill Eldred.
Who sometimes is in the comments.
Yeah, so he's in the comments there, and So he came with us. I think it was his 21st birthday. I hired him and took him to Fort Smith to fly this Aztec on a job we had coming. And he had this knee board. We didn't know what it was, you know. So comes into the hangar. I introduced him around to the gang, and they were sort of wondering who he was, because you got to remember at the time, us guys that have been there forever, you know, we were of the Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash era, and we had Bill Cream and DuckTales, and the newer crowd that were coming into the country were what we call Jesus freaks at the time. There was Woodstock. You remember Woodstock was at that time, and they all had Woodstock hair. Well, this guy comes in with his clipboard, but he doesn't really have either one. He's sort of in the middle. So we had a pilot there named Wayne Myers, flew a helicopter, so he sort of knew everything. So we asked him, I said, you know, this clean-cut guy, what do you call that? You can't call him a zoot suiter because he doesn't have a ducktail. You can't call him a hippie because he doesn't have a Jesus freak hair. So he went to the encyclopedias. We didn't have Google at that time. He went to the encyclopedias in the office. He come back and he said, oh, you call that guy Ivy League. He said, that's Ivy League. He said, you guys have got to remember that. So anyway, the boys come in the coffee room and they said, that new guy you hired, what's he got tied to his leg? So I think it was either Billy went out or Danny, Dangerous Dan, went out, and they got up behind him and looked at it, and they come back and said, well, it looks like one of those garters from the girls down there at Gertie's wearing Dawson City on Gaslight Frawley's. He said, he wears a garter. And so we didn't know quite what to think of this, and we look around, and here he's coming across the hangar floor, and he's got his watch, and he's got his Ray-Bans, and he's got David Clark headset around his neck, ready to put on his ears when he gets in the airplane. We don't have that. We have those fuzzy little earphones that stick to your ears. So you just put them on when you're talking. You take them off right away, which is all the time. You got to realize at that time, the radios weren't being used. We had 10-day flight notes. So we could file, remember the little pink flight notes we used to file with Transport Canada? We could file 10 days, and we had 10 days before anybody asked us where we'd been or where we were going and when we're coming back. So we kind of liked that. So I asked him, I said, what is that thing you got tied around your leg? And he said, well, that's for writing stuff down, and people tell you stuff, you got to write it down. People on the radio tell you stuff, you got to write it down. And I said, well, if you're taxiing out and they tell you, take off, you write that down? Oh, I've got to take off. I write, no, that can't be it. So I asked, oh yeah, another thing, Billy come back and he says, you know, I went over and looked at that thing he's got tied around his leg, and he said, it's got a pencil sharpener on it. He said, you sharpen your pencils. He says, I think we only sharpen our pencils till grade 3 or 4, and then we got stick pens with ink. We didn't have pencil sharpeners anymore. Maybe that's for a student pilot, he said. It's got a pencil sharpener. And I looked at it, and oh yeah, XDC 8998, that's Bill Eldred's. I still have it. I'm so impressed with it. Anyway, as time gone on, I asked Bill about it, and he said, oh yeah, you got to write stuff down and got to put it on your knee. And I said, well, when people phone us and on the radio and tell us something, we have to remember, like a frequency of a camp, we whip out our Player's Navy cut or export, and we write it on the lid, put it back. And that was the way it was done. We didn't write on our knee board. And then, so anyway, we were watching this young fella, and he's pretty good flying this airplane, but he came by and he said, Joe, he said, when you fly, you got to have one of these in your pocket. He said, it's called a whiz wheel. And he said, that's got to stick out of your pocket like that. So when you wander around, everybody knows you got a computer in your pocket. You're a whiz kid. It's called a whiz wheel. I said, what's that for? He said, that's for telling you when you're going to get there. I said, well, look, all our airplanes do 120 miles an hour, maybe 90 knots, so it's either 2 miles a minute or knot and a half a mile a minute. And I said, and all our maps are 8 miles to the inch, so it's very easy to figure out when you're going to get there. If you're going 8 miles to the inch and you got 2 miles a minute, what do you need that whiz wheel for? And he said, well, you got to calculate your time. and he shows us this watch he has. It's got a timer on it and a few things, and all we would do is we whip out our pocket watch, our dollar pocket watch or Westlock pocket watch with our cat fob on it, and we could time ourselves, you know, as we knew a mile. So when people ask me if I knew what a clipboard was, I have to tell them, yes, I do, because I had experience with one. And I finally did a trip with Bill to Edmonton in his Navajo. By that time we had traded the Aztec off and got a Navajo. And he was flying this Navajo, and I went to the city with him. And of course, between Calgary and Edmonton, at that time it started to get pretty busy with what we call high density traffic. And I seen where he had to use his clipboard quite a bit. And so I thought, well, you know, when you go to Air Canada, I'm going to steal that clipboard off you, and I'm going to use it, and in case I got to write something down. And so, sure enough, he went to Air Canada. I stole his clipboard. I still have it. Thank you, Bill. I see on the back here, he was trying to write something down, XDA 12834 or something. I think at that time he was getting an airline transport license. I think that's what that's written on there for. But anyway, folks, that's the story of the clipboard. Yes, I do know what a clipboard is now. Thank you for your time.
There are 11 minutes, folks, for that story. Hopefully it's pretty good.
Non-stop. See, I couldn't talk on the radio, but I can talk 11 minutes non-stop about something.
There's a guy, he spent 24 British pounds, asked us a pretty random question. It says, hi guys, if Douglas were going if Douglas was still going and turned up offering to Buffalo a fleet completely to your spec and 100% free because of your old to DC-3, would you build that airplane? Yes. Yeah, but you wouldn't, if you really wanted to build the DC-3 today, you really wouldn't want to build it exactly the same due to the avgas issue. So it would be something similar to the Basler, which the turbines, which would be. So hopefully that answers your question. Dad, so we got the whole thing on the clipboard, or the knee board. You got your whiz wheel. You got your pocket watch.
I'm all set to go put in a few miles here. I can get out of here and get in an airplane.
Oh, Sarah, super chat. Thank you, Sarah. Hope you're feeling better in New Jersey down there. A lot of people in today. Wow, this is 861 people came to hear you talk today. So, guys, here's a question.
They all come to see if I'm sitting 5 feet away from you.
Yeah, no, it's got to be Canadian, 5 foot Canadian too.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. So, you guys want, if you go, throw some questions in the chat, which would be very good. Most people saying they can listen to you talk all day.
Yeah, right.
So, how's everything going? The one thing you want to talk about the Fox Moth and see how the progress you guys are doing?
On the Fox Moth?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's come along very well. We that's sort of our escape room back there. You know, we go in the back room and work on the Fox Moth because, you know, the real world out here is a little crazy right now, the way things are going. So that's our escape. We go there and we work on this Fox Moth that was built in 1946 and try and visualize what it was like working in the Havilland factory at that time. This airplane, of course, was built by the same people who built the Mosquito bomber. And, you know, there's also wooden Ansons were built at the time. So we go back to that era where we don't have to really, you know, think about all the things we're going to have to face with when we go downtown today. So that's kind of nice to work on the Moth. I'm still looking for, you know, like a Tiger Moth project I can get the wings off of. Or I'm also looking for floats. They're 24-2425 floats. Yeah, they're Stinson floats, and I'll put her on the floats, and this summer I'll just fly around, look at the country. But one thing I've been doing, as I researched these Fox Moths, and I'm reading everything I can about them, and you know, I thought I knew a little bit about them, but the more I read about it, the more interesting it is, and I see that you know, just about anywhere I go back and start reading about Fox Moth in the north, I run across Max Ward is he started off here with Fox Moth, and everywhere I go I run into him with his Fox Moth in the paperwork or in the picture. So I think for his 100th birthday, I'll take him for a ride and see if he'll come for a ride. He comes up the all night, so I'll take him for a ride in my Fox mod just for old time's sake.
So Andrew's saying, we in lockdown here in South Africa, police and army on the streets, 21 days, no outside, going nuts. YouTube is an escape. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, thank you.
Well, there's 911 people watching 9/11. Blimp Commander threw in a super chat. Thank you, Blimp. You're always one of the hardcores here. Are any of your DC-3s former Ozark Airlines planes? That's a pretty good question. Do you know?
No, I don't think any of them are former Ozark. They're either, well, the ones we fly every day, they're ex-military. They're RCAF or RAF. And CUE is after the Air Force. It was in Canadian Pacific Airlines, CPA. So no, I don't have any Ozarks.
Oh, Ozark. That's mostly out of England, correct?
Ozark, no, it's the Ozark Mountains down in the eastern seaboard.
Okay.
Downward in that deliverance country.
There we go. So I did see something here. Geez, a lot of stuff coming in here. Talking right now, Johnny Bruno is saying, I love your picture there, John. Would a Convair 580 be useful to Buffalo's fleet? We were just talking about this yesterday. What's your thoughts on the Convair 580?
Well, the Convair 580, it needs a lot of runway. We don't have the runway lengths here that we need now for the accelerate stop distance. Gone are the days when we can just get in and get out. We now have to prove that we can have a safety factor of about 35%, so we can accelerate the takeoff speed, still stop the airplane on the remaining runway. And again, gone are days when all the airstrips here were just get in and get out airstrips. We're lucky to have what we had. And so the Convair takes some strips. The props are close to the ground because we're all in gravel, dirt and mud here. We only have 6 paved airports in all the Northwest Territory and go through the top third of Canada. So can you imagine the top third of Canada, only 6 paved airports? So all the other airports are gravel. The props are very close to the ground for picking up stones. And the other thing is, the advantage of it is it's a good hauler and a great airplane, and it has the same propellers and engines as our Lockheed Electras, so we'd have some continuity there, where we could use the same engines and props, and our experience with the engine in maintenance would certainly help us.
Zen Air Pilot is saying, Joe, do you prefer to fly tail dragger or tricycle gear aircraft? Why? So which one do you like, and why do you like that one?
Yeah, well, everything we really flew, yeah, the tail dragger is what we need because we have to, a lot of our airstrips are soft and they're muddy, or, they don't get we're in deep snow, so we need, we can't have really a nose wheel unless you have a good prepared airstrip that, like a nose gear is nice because it's like a tricycle, you can't fall off. But the tail wheel is more of a two-wheeler where we have good control over it. We can get in and out of some pretty rough places with it, with a tail wheel. Like a B-17 was a tail wheel. It's not that it had to be a great airplane.
Yeah, it was amazing to see the B-17 firefighting aircraft, the turbine one. That was very, very cool to see that. Unfortunately, it didn't last that long. What did we see here? Richard Karst here saying, hey Joe, any guys that have left Buffalo that you wish you had working for you again?
Isn't that like being a born again Christian and getting it all over again? No, I dealt with the devil once. I don't know. There's a lot of great people out there that pass through here that I'd love to see back again. If when I come to do it over again, when I start over again, they'll all come back.
D-Stew is saying, are you all flying medical supplies for the COVID-19 virus?
Well, we do notice in our freight sheds and in our freight trucks that are coming in, there's quite a bit of medical supplies we're putting on board our airplanes, going to the different settlements that we fly to. Our grocery airplanes are all the medical supplies.
Oh yeah, and we work very closely with the hospitals, moving all the supplies, the tests, and everything. So yeah, we're a pretty intricate part in the whole supply chain, and that's why we keep going, and that's why I'm locked in the office here, making sure we've done a lot of stuff. So we have lost charters, of course, like everybody else, mostly the King Air passenger charters, but we've been picking up charters too, moving VIP people around. Essential crew and all that fun stuff. So we're doing good. We got backup crews ready. We're going good. Freight, our normal freight really hasn't been affected yet. We've still been moving. In fact, the last week we've seen an increase.
Yeah, we're moving a lot of groceries and a lot of freight into settlements, which we'll continue to do, and which we'll have to do because the people depend on us for it, and that's our mainstream work. And so, yes, with the freight, we'll continue, and we'll do whatever we can.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So yeah, so most airlines, of course, we've been affected. We've probably, I would say, close to $300,000 worth of charters at this point, maybe even a little bit more that we have lost. But on the bright side, we are mainly cargo based. So passenger airline or passenger aircraft are the highest effective. They're almost 100% effective, and you've seen all over the news the passenger airplanes converted into cargo aircraft. So in this point, we are pretty good because we are cargo, but that's not saying we're not having a tough time because, like I said, we are losing contracts and stuff, passenger contracts. These are single-use contracts, not like a big major contract. But yeah, so we are trying to weather the storm. We've set up a whole system of SMS, the safety management system, for dealing with everything. So we are ahead of the game. We were probably, I would say, 5 days ahead of everybody else. I would say by like we took once we knew, once we started seeing what was happening, we did the lockdown pretty quickly. So we are pretty good. So even Rod had a precautionary 1 week at home, so he's got to catch up this week.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's got to work double time.
Yeah.
How's Uncle Ronnie doing? Elvis King. Elvis is asking how Elvis is doing. Have you talked?
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday, and he's doing pretty good. He's working on JKM now. He can't go back. Of course, we're locked out of the USA, so he can't go back and get the DC-4. So he's putting his time now. He said he's working on JKM for me and getting it put back together so I can have it back again.
Yeah, so it's Robert Lingston in Scotland, one of the biggest airwear customer in history. Christine actually went and had dinner with us, Robert here in Scotland. Over 1,000 people, 1,036. Wow. Sundays are the best, folks. That's why we save Sundays for you. The guests. So last week we had YouTubers, some of your favorite YouTubers, and then Raymond Boulanger. What do you think? Did you watch the live stream a bit there with Raymond?
Oh yes, yeah. I was quite interested in that one. Very, very, very good because I've been working out in Miami myself for a while and working with Lippert into Haiti during that time. I met quite a few of these people that were running out of South Florida, what we call Corrosion Corner, and they were really neat people, and I envied them in lots of ways because of my respect for the regulatory forces and my respect for the people who do all the compliance. I flew my 30,000 hours straight and narrow, just like a God-driven snow straight ahead. And many times I'd like to have turned up the back alley a little bit and see how far offshore I could get in the dark. But I couldn't do that. But when I come back, I'm going to do it. I'm an ex-life. So I really enjoyed listening to those people and talking to them. Because I knew what they're doing, what kind of flying they're doing. But at the time, I couldn't quite get into that at the time. I was more committed to doing my jobs at home that I had to stay home in the Northwest Territories and do. So I kept coming back, but it looked kind of neat down that alley they were turning down. It looked like it was lots of fun down there.
Do you want to talk about all, like, because your piloting career was around it. Well, you and Ray are almost identical for time. Was there any chances, any calls? Ray just got a call and said, you want to go do this job, and then it turned into something crazy. many forks in the road. Was there any ones that you remember, looking for Canadian bush pilots?
Yeah, at one time, I was still working for Gateway Aviation there in Edmonton. They were Edmonton based, but I was Fort Smith based. But anyway, they were running ads in the paper wanting bush pilots to fly for the CIA, and they advertised that we didn't go beyond enemy lines. We stayed on the safe side delivering, and they wanted people who could fly Beavers and Otters and Beechcraft, Hilo Courier 123s, and looking at what they were offering and the thrill of it, yes, we were all set to go. In fact, Freddie, Keever, Al Ludit, myself, we got all our passports, all our paperwork in order, and I was trading off my pickup truck, my new one. I still have it, but I didn't trade it off. But I was going to trade my new pickup. For some reason, we needed a Volkswagen, and we had to go to Australia, and then we'd be hired in Australia, which is neutral, to go fly in Vietnam. And we were going to call ourselves the Moccasin Squadron because we had mucklucks and moccasins and stuff like that. We were quite thrilled about it, but when you're that young, and thinking back on it now, all we could think about is the airplanes. We just thought airplane, airplane, airplane. We're going to fly all these neat airplanes, and we're going to be in a warm country. We won't be up to our ass in snow with Herman Nelsons. And but we never once thought why we're flying the airplane. We never once thought of war, bullets, guns, people dying, and people getting maimed and hurt and burnt. We only thought our mentality only went as far as flying the airplane. And so, as it turned out, one by one we didn't go. And one of the guys that I was working with, Gordon Haley, he went. When he got back, I hardly recognized him. So it wasn't as great over there as the paper said it was. And he told me what had happened over there and what he was doing and why I had a hard time recognizing him. And so in the end, it's probably a good thing we didn't go, because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. I'd be. But at the time, it sounded like fly, fly, fly as much as you could fly. And that's all we had in our minds. But, all three of us were probably just married to a year or two at the most. I think I was married a year, and Al may have been married 2 years, and Freddie was just getting married. And so we weren't even thinking about that. We would be singing John Whitaker's farewell song, and how he went off to war. So, but thinking back now, I'd never do it, because I knew now I realized there was a war on, just not flying airplanes.
That's a very good point. So maybe we should set up a special live stream between you and Ray and do some comparison, because you guys know, who gave Ray his check ride? Did he tell you?
Well, he talking about Wong. I worked with not Wong. He talked about Al Marr. I worked with Al's brother, Cedric Moth. He talked about Modern Airspray. I remember those people. He talked about just what everybody talked about, I either met or heard about or knew of. So yeah, I wouldn't mind spending some time with him.
But this is probably Ghislain Durocher gave him his first checkout.
Yeah, that's where I got my first cancel, was from him. PMQ, that Quebec Air cancel. That's where I bought that airplane from. Back in Quebec City, when you could sit down and make a deal on a napkin in a cafe.
No, but you remember, Ghislain, the 46 pilot.
Oh, that Ghislain.
Yeah.
Ghislain. No, I was thinking of the Ghislain from Conifair, Royal Air. No.
Ghislain Durocher. Yeah, so Ghislain flew our C-46 up until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he's the one who gave Ray his checkout, so it's still going. Yeah, it's such a small world. So you guys haven't even talked to each other yet. So maybe you guys let me know in the comments. Would that be an epic chat? Maybe next Sunday, we'll see. For guests this week, we can't tell who the guests are. I've got 2 special guests this week that are very cool. So hopefully you guys like that. Okay. Did you see a comment in here, Eli?
I've seen somebody ask you what you thought of the new Cessna that's coming out.
Oh, yeah. What's your thought? Oh, you know how much I love it. What's your honest opinion on the new Sky Courier? I mean, getting updates right from Cessna. They've been sending me pictures personal pictures right from the assembly line because they don't have a Canadian launch customer yet.
It wasn't L Wong, it was L Mar, M-A-H. And the fellow I worked with was his brother Cedric Ma.
Cedric. So Cedric was based out of Edmonton, right?
Well, at the time I knew him, yes, but he was the CNA. He was running 46s over the hump the day I was born.
Okay. Oh, we got a super chat coming in from Vernon. Oh, you got a triplane there. So triplane update. I don't really got anything too much. The wings are being manufactured right now. Aircraft spruce is really. I try not to say negative things, but if you imagine a negative thing, aircraft spruce has really been tough getting the spar material still. Yeah, we'll get more on the stuff. The wings are actually started being made there in Toronto during this whole thing, but I'll explain all that in a bit. Once I have more information. Mr. Smith saying, "Oh my God, what have I missed?" Quite a bit. And your number, like a question that you get all the time here, Dad. What's your favorite airplane? Let's narrow it down. What's your favorite airplane on floats?
Well, you can't really answer the question. They're all favorites. It's like they all do something different. They all fly a little different. But when you get in a 180, you really like it, and then you get in a 185, you really like it. And the 206 has a lot of advantages. And when you get into Beaver, Otter, Norseman, they have their place, and you like it what they're doing at the time. And so there wouldn't really be a favorite. They all fly and they all do nice things, So I really can't answer what my favorite airplane would be on floats.
Benjamin William, where's Benjamin? They're moving today. They're moving to a new apartment. So I asked them to come in on the Skype call. I've seen them, but I physically haven't talked to them now in about 2 weeks because it's literally you and Stella are really the only two people I interact with, and maybe Rod a little bit. During this whole thing. Flight Express says, where did Joe get his flight training? Where was that old Lynx trainer?
Well, I went to different schools. You want to know where I got my flight training?
But you did a lot on the job flight training, eh?
Yeah, it was a lot different than it is today, where you go to a college and you get it all in a 2-year program. We got it. It's a Norseman. Yeah, we got it on the job. I got my private license in Hay River. I got my commercial license in Edmonton at Gateway, and I got my instrument rating from the Chinook School of Aviation in Calgary. Irv Conroy. Remember those old Irvy boy? So that was lots of fun.
A couple questions. Ethan Brown is throwing. What's your opinion on the Beaver? I've seen a few variations. I'm going to change up and say, why do you love the Norseman and not so? I shouldn't say not so much the Beaver. Why are you focusing on Norsemans and not the Beaver?
Well, the Norseman is a great airplane. I flew a Norseman long before I flew a Beaver, and I used to, when I was checked out on Gateway's Beaver, I used to sit in and look out at the float cutting through the air and pretend I was back in my Norseman. So I sort of like, you can't be with the one you love the one you're with, sort of with the airplane, So I wanted to be back in my Norseman, but then I got back in one that it gave me a hard time because it was wore out. So I wish I was back in my Beaver.
Joe, do you remember Perry Linton?
Oh yeah, I know Perry. He's in BC right now, just out of Penticton. Yeah, I knew Perry very well. He used to give me a ride before I even had pilot's license. I used to ride with Perry in his courier. He really gave me some rides around town in his Helio courier, Linton Construction.
Was he the same one from Air America?
Yeah, it's like his was JRT. It was actually it was sold to them by Don Hamilton from Airspray. He was a courier dealer, Courier Flights, Courier Airmark. Yeah, I know Perry quite well. At the time, we crossed a lot of paths. He was in Norman Wells for years, and every time I went through there, I'd stop and see him.
Really good. PlaneSavers, Anthony Hills. PlaneSavers stopped saving at the moment. Well, yeah, everybody's on lockdown. Yeah, so that's yeah. So you can imagine. Yeah, so, but they're still working on the Fox Moth, and then like I said, the Fokker, the wings are being built in Toronto. But I'll get more stuff on that. Spaghetti Don did an amazing run to get some of the wood over, but we're still missing the spar wood, which is crazy. Joe sent a $10 super chat. Hello, Joe. Thank you for the super chat. Rice is here.
It says right there, I've ever thought of flying for Air Canada. Yeah, I'm on the short list for the next hiring at Air Canada. They shortlisted me during this time, so I'll probably make it next time. No, I don't think I'll go there.
You don't think you go to Air Canada? What plane? Well, you could be like a flight attendant or something. What plane would you like to fly that you haven't?
Pardon me?
What plane would you like to fly that you haven't?
I like that that Antonov too. You know, that big biplane. They put it on floats. They put it on skis. I think that'd be a neat airplane. I don't know what airplane. I don't really know. That's a hard question too. You know.
Mark McCauley, I've always wondered, do all radial engines rotate the same direction? Not sure if there's an option to get ones that rotate in opposite directions. Thanks, guys. Can keep what you're doing, Mark. You want to handle that one?
No, you go ahead. You're an Englishman. They go backwards in England, so you can handle that one.
Yeah, so depending, so yeah, if you look at a radial engine and pretend I'm the captain, North American engines, the prop normally goes towards the captain. We're talking a two-engine airplane, so you put it on your nose. So yeah, it goes this way if you're in America or Canada, or it goes the opposite way in England. I don't know why they did that, and that's not necessarily the rule. But there's also a flip side. There's the counter rotating, or yeah, not the counter rotating props, but what would you call that? So what you would do is, because the prop goes this way, it's throwing air over the tail on the left hand side, and that's your critical engine. And if you were to actually put the engine on the other side and flip it the other way, you can actually double the critical engine. I'm not explaining that properly, but there is benefits to having two engines rotating the prop towards the fuselage. It's a little bit of a physics thing, but yeah. So the answer is a radial engine can do whatever you want, backwards, forwards, left, right. You just have to set it up that way. North Americans one way, the British the other. But that would the physics behind that would be definitely more of a physics question. Has Buffalo ever operated DC-3 on floats? No. But we have seen about 1,000 emails of the YouTube videos that people send us of the one. But so thank you guys. It says Russian engines also go on the other one. That's good. Oh, a lot of ones coming in here. Any chances of a DH7 or a DHC8 being added to the fleet?
A what?
De Havilland's.
Oh, like a de Havilland -8.
Or -7 or Twin Otter or...
Oh yeah, if a work comes along, then Mikey, you can go get one of those and put it to work. That'd be fine.
Has Joe ever flown a helicopter? Yes. Yeah, there's an Ice Pots episode about that. Check that out. I don't know which one. There was a lot. There was 73 Ice Pots episodes. That's quite a bit. Jonathan, super chat. Hi, love the videos. Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. Cool, man. We got 1,144. That's almost our record. I think our record is 1168. So holy smokes. T Brown, super chat. Thank you, T Brown. Yeah, $20. Wow, that's big super chat. Thank you, T Brown. I think you're pretty active in the other chat too. So that was good. Chris Shaw is saying, Joe, you got to smile once in a while.
Yeah, right.
What's going on here? Flybe has a lot of Q400s that need a home. So Flybe is the WestJet Encore, or the WestJet Encore of England that shut down. They have a whole bunch of Q400s. But I just read a thing that I think that the government might be buying them out, but I'm not an expert at anything. So smash the like button. Lots of people watching. C23, I do not know. Is that a CASA 23? I do not know. Sherpa. Probably sounds very expensive. When was the last time Joe has flown DC-4? It's been a while, eh?
Yeah, I have flown a DC-4 for 20 years. 20 years went by pretty quick. Probably 10 years ago. The way it feels.
Oh, I saw one. What was the first airplane you ever soloed in? There.
Where's that? Where's that?
Jodo Safer. What was the plane that Joe first soloed in?
PA-12, a Piper PA-12 on skis, Hay River.
1,151 folks. We are only about 10 away from, or 15 away from breaking our live stream record. Thank you, guys. Sean Bond, $10 for Joe's Fox Moth project.
Thank you.
So Sean Bond came to see us with me at DTD in Edmonton.
Oh yeah.
Caravans. I love the Caravan. Unfortunately, Don Morrison, how about Caravans? I love the Caravan, but unfortunately, you can't really put too much freight in them. So there we go. Short 330. Problems with the short 330s? Fuel range. Yes, that's right. The short. That's why they called them short. I looked in there. Man, because everything is so far away here. You need good fuel range. Oh, we are 3 away. 1,165. Oh, that's pretty close. What is going on here? 68. 1,168. 7. Now we're 2 away. Oh, we lost some. There we go. Any Dash 8 coming soon? You never know. You never know, folks. This is not a wise time to buy airplanes, but it is going to be a wise time to maybe get some good deals. So I'm looking. Super chat. Bob is saying he would love to own an Albatross, which is a good little airplane. Everyone here is here to hear Joe. So we'll find a Joe comment. Caribou. I've seen a few things about the Caribou, Dad. Oh, there we go. Just broke the record. 1,173. So that's our newest stream record. Mikey, the Buffalo's ever thought about a Caribou? If you don't know what a Caribou is, it is a Buffalo aircraft, de Havilland Buffalo with R2000s on it. That made no sense. But anyway, it's a twin engine stall aircraft built by de Havilland with R2000 radial engines on it.
Yeah. No, we thought of it. We just don't have any place for it right now. It wouldn't fit into our game plan here right now.
Yeah,
at one time it would have, but you know, they were turbining them at one time. That would have been all right.
Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. So 1,190, folks. Keep an eye out. See how high it gets. 1,196. That is crazy. Eric from Niles, Illinois. To my 2 favorite humans, and donate Joe's project, please and thank you. There you go. So that's $20 to the Fox model right now.
Good. We need that, boy.
No, it's going good.
Some brass nails and nailing it together.
Yeah, no, it's looking pretty good. So what is going on here? Any other questions for Joe? This is pretty good, dude. We got him after pretty good attention span here. Turbine conversion on the C46 will not be economical for a bunch of reasons. I made a video on that actually. You see, the problem when you put a turbine in an airplane, to actually make it profitable, you have to do a whole bunch and you have to sell a whole bunch. and then you get into the business of selling airplanes and not operating airplanes. So you got to figure out what business you're in, and it's always smart to stay in the business that you're in instead of forcing yourself to be in another type of business, if that makes sense. So at one time, Basler was probably operating DC-3s, and now they do not anymore. They were that kind of stuff. That makes kind of sense. Arthur, what is the most likely replacement for the Electras when the time comes? Also made a video on that, and as you know, it's more of a 10-minute conversation than a 1-second conversation. But right now, there is really no replacement for the Electra due to its door size, its overall cost, and floor loading capability. And an aircraft that could replace it would be a Herc, but again, there's another video completely. He's spending 10 minutes on that subject, talking about why it is probably not likely to spend $70 million. So, yeah, a lot of these questions I made videos on, but I don't expect everybody to watch every video, but there is also a lot. $2, Joe, 2 for the Fox. Ever flown it? Have you ever flown a Hilo Courier?
No, only time I flew one, I didn't fly when I rode with Perry Linton and his a few times, like more than a few times, and I'm quite impressed how he handled it.
Stuart Young Murray is saying, how long do you think you'll be able to keep flying the C-46?
Oh, 25 more years.
There you go. Easy answer. Another super chat from Aaron Duncan from Buffalo Joe, fan from Guelph, Ontario.
Oh.
What's a story from Guelph, Ontario? You can always pull stories of locations. The one thing you always do is you'll see somebody, and then you'll ask where they're from, and then they'll say Guelph, Ontario, and then you would say,
well, if you're from Barrie, Ontario, you had converted your beer factory into a plot factory. I know that about Barrie. I don't know about Guelph right now. I have to think about it.
Grant Wall is saying, super chat, $10. Thank you, Grant. Has Joe ever flown the Electra?
No, I haven't flown the airplane as a pilot. I just rode in it and steered it around the sky.
There's that Ice Pilots episode where we fly back from England in one.
Oh yeah, I flew back from England. You know, I just wanted to fly over Ireland.
Me and him, we flew a transatlantic trip with the Electra.
Yeah, we did 2 of them, eh?
I did one. Did I do 2?
No, you did.
No, I did 1. Yeah. No, I can't remember. John Bravo. I don't know why I say Johnny Bravo. I kind of Johnny Bruno. I know. John Bruno. Not being a trader, Mikey. There's a bit for Joe's Foxmouth. 25 for Joe's Foxmouth. Yes, all super chats will be going to Joe's Foxmouth on this one. Let's go. Oh, another one here. Mikey's beer fund. There you go. There's no beer here. Everything's gone. So, Will Tesla DR1. That's what I call expendable. Will's definitely not expendable. We just spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars training him on the Electra. Tomorrow's his first Electra trip, actually. I think.
Yes, tomorrow's
his first revenue Electra trip.
Yeah.
Would you want to say how much it costs to train somebody on the Electra?
Oh, from the time you take them in the door till you turn them out, like Will tomorrow, it's $50,000.
$50,000, folks, to train William on the Electra. Think of that, folks. $50,000. You can buy a Shelby Mustang for that.
That's the fuel.
A new one. That's the fuel. Yeah, there you go.
5,000 pounds an hour times 10 hours. Figure it out.
Wow.
You don't even want to think about that.
1,200 people watching Super Chat. Another Super Chat. Jeez Louise. No beer, Don, because he didn't bring... Don was going to come up and visit us, but unfortunately his president and our prime minister closed the borders. Super Chat, $9, $9.99 from Caleb ICT. If you come to the Skycur, I'll take you to see the KC-46. If you're like, oh, the KC-46, that's the big boy. So I always like that. The C-17's been here for a week. I wonder if they're broke down. If you guys know the C-17 Globemaster, which is, one day hopefully could be civilianized, would be amazing. It's actually, I wonder if it would be good, because if you think of it, that's a good question. C-17 Globemaster hauls a lot of freight, and it can haul stuff that maybe the Herc doesn't because of the size, but I wonder how efficient it would be versus a 747 freighter just for by pure bulk. But that C-17 can land on some pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, you see any questions in there, Dad? Did you like? Hey, be off topic a bit. What is Joe's favorite brand of trucks?
Fargo.
Fargo? That's not correct.
No, I usually drive Rangers.
Ford
Little
Rangers.
Ford Rangers, the old ones.
The 90s?
Well, yeah, the ones that are kind of neat, you know.
No, but not saying like a daily driver. What truck? What year and brand of truck would be your all-time favorite? 66 Mercury?
Geez, I don't know. I don't really pick favorites.
It's hard. It's hard. Why does Joe sometimes wear hats from Everett's?
Everett Airfield? Oh, he sends me hats because he knows I'm cold-headed, so it keeps me cool.
Yeah.
You know, I send the boys up at Everett Air Cargo and Everett Airfield in Anchorage, or not in Fairbanks. They send me a care package of hats in the fall to get me through the winter.
Did you ever have a Mercury truck?
Oh yes, lots of Mercuries. The last Mercury was 69, I think.
Oh, Qatar does have a civilian C-17. I wonder if they could do it because the Qatar. I wonder if it actually is civilian. Interesting. Like civilian meaning that you could operate it in Canada as civilian and not just next military. Interesting. Hey Plum, are you still in the water bomber business?
Oh yes, that's a great part of our life. Is forest fire season always has been. We'll always be in that business, one way or the other.
Yeah. Super chat. Dakin 17's asking, when will you be in Penhold next? It'll be a while. Again, we're not allowed to move. We're not allowed to travel, folks.
Is Dakin 17? Is that John Dakin's boy Stevie?
Mm-hmm.
Is that who that is?
I don't know.
Dakin.
Might be Scotty.
Who's Dakin 17? Is that what's that got to do with Johnny Dakin?
I don't know.
If it is, I'll tell him how his dad introduced me to duty days. Duty days and fatigue management.
Does Joe still have a Mercury truck?
Yes, I do.
What's Joe's favorite airport?
How do you do that?
What airport would say? Let's flip that on an end. What airport that always gave you trouble, weather issues, strip or whatever? What was one airport that was always?
Well, the one that catches my mind was Pawlatuck up east of Tuktoyaktuk on the Arctic coast there. It had a weird southwest wind that was, some of the local people call it a spiritual wind. If it blew hard from the southwest, they wouldn't even come to the airport because they didn't want to get on the airplane. It was so rough. So there's no use trying to land there if because nobody's going to come on the airport anyway. If that southwest wind is really blowing hard. They've done studies on it. They've had people come up from and put weather stations on the hill behind it and see if they can figure out where this wind's coming from, why it's so violently rough. I just think it's an unknown spiritual wind, one of those mystery winds. It's like.
So it says that John's son Steve, Johnny Dakin's son Steve, is the one.
Oh, Steve, yeah, that's who it is?
Yeah.
Where is he? Right here.
Right here.
Oh, no, back up. You go too fast with that damn thing. Roll it back like a piece of paper.
No, it's right here on the camera.
Down there. Yeah, I'm John's son, Steve. Yeah, gee, how you doing? Yeah, I have great memories of going to work for Johnny in Fort Smith. I was, right now in the aviation world, you know, the people are all concerned about duty days and fatigue management and stuff, and I went to work for Johnny. I guess I'd be 20 years old, maybe 21. And he put me on a Cessna 180 in the spring there on skis. And he said, he said, you've passed the course. He said, you passed, I'm going to keep you working here. He said, I'm going to put this airplane on skis. You're on floats, you're going to help me. We'll put it on the first weekend in May. And we're going to strap it to your ass really hard. And we're not going to take it off your ass till Halloween night. And if you put it on then and take it off on that day, if you don't have 600 hours under your belt, he said, I waste my whole summer working with you. So, and he said, when you're really tired and really hungry and you can't find another trip, he said, you crawl up that hill to the bunkhouse, make yourself a peanut butter sandwich, get your ass back in that airplane right away, and get back to work. So I thought, oh, okay. And in the fall, I went to him and I said, well, I did it. I done up my logbook. I put 660 hours on that airplane. So we're good friends from that day forward. And so now, if I went and told him about, he's no longer with us, but I went and told him about fatigue management or duty days, he'd not understand a thing what I was talking about.
Fred Martin saying, a super chat question, say hi to your dad. Met him in the terminal back about 94 when we bought Air North DC-4 to Yellowknife. Currently on the 777, Fred Martin.
Oh yeah.
There,
them coming in here. I was looking to see if he has as many oil leaks as I did.
I did see one here. Where is it here? Boba Fett is asking what plane was used in Air America. C-123 provider.
Yeah, it's a Fairchild provider. Yeah.
Where did I see you? Oh, Chris Haw is saying, I'm Gary Haw's son. Do you remember him? Do you remember Gary Haw?
When and where?
Yeah, context. A little context, maybe. Was I apologize. Dakin's here. I apologize for him, Joe. He was kind of a prick, unfortunately.
Oh no, I didn't think he was that. I thought he was very good. I always figured that, the way he pushed everything to the limit, to the edge. He'd been good on a NASCAR track. Is where he would have really shone. He was a good pilot, but I think he'd have really got an extra smidgen of a mile out of a car on a track. I always figured, because he could sure get an extra mile out of an airplane. Extra load. Oh no, I have great memories of working for him. I guess because I was just as stubborn as he was.
Joe, please write a book. When are you going to write your book?
I don't know if I'd write a book or not. Maybe a kid's book for school or something about it.
That's actually pretty funny. Okay, so Chris Haw is saying he was the base manager for First Air in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I was thinking of something else. Yeah, okay, yeah, hi. Yeah, I remember quite well, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know John Hannock, Transport Canada. He's my uncle. John Hannock's nephew's on here.
Oh, really?
There you go.
No, I'm going to shop for sure. No more secrets.
Oh, John's always been nice.
He's really good. He worked well with Rod, our son, and my son. So yeah, he worked.
John was always really good.
Yeah, he's really good. He likes Rod. Rod listens to him. I sort of can't hear too much sometimes.
So some people are asking how Ronnie's doing. Ronnie's doing pretty good. He's just kind of stuck. Ronnie's always about saving airplanes, and now he's stuck in his room in Red Deer and waiting for airplanes. So, what is going on? So, folks, I think that's pretty good. 1,239 people watching live. Blew our record out of the water. Dad, everyone just loves you to death.
Oh, yeah, right.
And everyone just thinks you're just the nicest person.
Yeah. Well, you just... Never mind that.
Okay, so folks, we're going to end the live chat there. I was super looking forward to hanging out with you guys today. Being able to talk to 1,200 people live is amazing, and up to 20,000 people watch it over the course of the week. So thank you so much. This is way we're giving back. Oh, what's that?
Tell Dakin 17 there that Ronnie's at the Red Deer hangar right now. I should just go in and see him. They'd have a good time talking about when they used to sell gas.
You're not supposed. You're supposed to say social distancing. You can't tell people to go hang out with Uncle Ronnie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, you can write him a letter.
Write him a letter.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, when this is all done and over, we'll meet you down there, and Ronnie will take you out for supper. Then down to the Boston Pizza.
James Han, you're always in. There's always in the comment. Freight Dog, watching from a sunny but breezy St. Louis. Split to 50-50 between the projects. No question, just enjoying Joe's stories. Thanks, James. Freight Dog for the Brown Company. So, see, I get to know everybody in the chat, too, which is awesome. So, thank you. This is always what makes my day. Dad, you want to say one goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, just, I'm just trying to read all this stuff. But, yeah, I just offer everybody the best and hope the best for everybody. And, this gives you... I got my 5. Yeah, I'm still there. So we'll do what we're told and follow that along, and we'll get over this. We feel very fortunate that we have the government that looks out for us, and supports us, and helps us at this time.
Sounds good. So thank you guys, everybody. 1,200 people live. Love you all to death. We'll see you.
Elder didn't come on, and I talked to God. Where's that guy? He's probably out the garage smoking.
Awesome. Elvis has left the building. See you guys on the next one. Tuesday, special guest on Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. See you guys.